لو قال لك ممنوع التعدد، ما عندناش حاجة اسمها تعدد زوجات، ولا حتى بمفهومه الإسلامي الصحيح اللي هو بيلزم فيه الرجل قدام الست بعقد الزواج بأداء حقوقها طول عمره، ممنوع أيضا. فالنتيجة خربوها في السر، وبعدها بقليل خربوها في العلن.
But this is the exact point, right? This is why a lot of the degeneracy that exists amongst Western world leadership exists. Like, if you look at rich men in the West, right? A rich man in the West, especially a someone who works in politics, they're only allowed by society and by Christian law to have one woman. And they have this one woman and they're not satisfied with her. So what do they end up doing? They end up looking for secrets. They want to do things that nobody's going to know about. So what do they do in secret? Well, we can go down the rabbit hole of Epstein's Island and XYZ and all the crazy, degenerate, disgusting things they do just to pretend and you know, promote this one woman image. But truthfully, no man is satisfied with that. And because they're not satisfied, they're out there doing whatever they can in secret. And basically a lot of it's absolutely degenerate.
العلمانية وفرت نفاق كوكبي غير طبيعي. الفواحش تبعها تطبيع مع الفواحش، تبعها انهيار للأسرة التقليدية في الغرب، تبعها إن أغلب الأطفال خارج دائرة الزواج، تبعها انهيار المنظومة الأخلاقية ككل. من الحاجات اللي أدهشت أندرو تيت بالإسلام أن المسلم لا يقبل إن حد يسخر من دينه، ممنوع.
Because if you're tolerant of everything, and I respect people who stick up for what they believe in. Yeah. It's not even about me believing in it. I respect them because they believe and they will defend. Muslims are the only people who will defend their religion. They will defend their beliefs. They refuse to be mocked. Mm-hmm. They refuse to be insulted. And I respect that about them. I respect that. That's an amazing thing about them, right?
God to me is strong. God to me is something to be feared.
Yeah.
God to me is someone that people are afraid to mock.
Yeah.
God to me is someone that you have to go out of your way to prove something to. God to me has red lines.
Yeah.
Like, God to me represents the Islamic faith.
أتباع الدين الحق ولأنهم بيخشوا ربهم لا يقبلون إن حد يسخر من دينهم بأي صورة وبأي شكل. العلمانية في الغرب لعبتها صح عشان تسقط قيمة الدين في قلب الناس، خلتهم تقبلوا السخرية من دينهم، وإلا فأنت غير متسامح، لازم تقبل السخرية من دينك. فمع الوقت تسقط هيبة الدين في القلب، يضعف الإيمان. ده اللي حصل في الغرب. فالسخرية من الدين حاجة خطيرة تمس العقيدة في القلب، وعشان كده أي مسلم لا يقبل إن حد يسخر من دينه. والموضوع ده عاجب جدا أندرو تيت. طبعا دعاة العلمانية العرب لو تفتكروا من فترة حاولوا يخلونا نتقبل السخرية من الدين، وخليك لارج، عاوزيننا نبقى زيهم، ودوا لو تكفرون كما كفروا فتكونون سواء. دلوقتي أندرو تيت هيلفت نظرنا لحاجة ما احناش حاسين بيها، نعمة مش حاسين بيها.
Women, everyone's married, every woman obeys her husband, every single woman has 4, 5, 6 kids, big families, all the things we're talking about, all the problems we have here, right? They've got none of that, none of it, because of Islam. Islam keeps society in the role where women obey their man, women have children, women have big families, women are exceptionally happy to do so.
Yes.
Before some Western girl comes in here and runs her mouth, the Islamic women are happier than any you're going to see in the club tonight.
They're very true.
They're happy. Society is functioning. Their population is growing, because in most Western countries the population is declining.
في النظام العلماني أمله إن الست تطيع الرجل عشان الرجالة عندنا يعرفوا النعمة اللي هم فيها. عندهم أمله إن الست تقبل إن هي تخلف كتير. مفيش ست في الغرب تقبل بهذا الكلام. فالإسلام أصلح كل هذه المشاكل، أصلح المرأة وأصلح الرجل.
Just drunk and just, you know, run around acting crazy and there's a degree of, I mean, hey, I think if you were to ask any man if he'd want an Islamic wife, a wife who complies, who's not going to cheat, who behaves herself, who dresses modestly, maybe not even completely, you know, full burqa, but dresses modestly, behaves appropriately, shows respect. That whole podcast was about how to try and make females basically act the way they've acted for the longest period of human history up until modern times, where they've completely forgotten. And I said, well, Islam fixes it because they don't have any of these problems, right? We now live in a world in the West where we've thrown religion away and we've thrown cultural norms away. We've thrown so many things away, and there's a degree of confusion amongst people. People are lost. They really are, men and women.
الإسلام علم الست الطهر والعفة والحشمة والحياء وطاعة الزوج. إياك أن تظن أن الست الغربية شريرة. اللي خرب الدنيا في الغرب هو العلمانية، خربت النفسية، دمرت الحياء، قتلت الفطرة.
Confusion amongst people. People are lost. They really are, men and women. I think a lot of the Western women act so degenerate, and they don't do it because they're evil. They're doing it because they're trying to find happiness. And they can't find it, right? And they think, oh, maybe a new man's happiness, maybe drinking alcohol is happiness, maybe taking drugs is happiness. And if you don't ever find a higher purpose, you're just going to degenerate in a spiral downwards. And that's kind of what's happened. And now we're in a situation where in the West, a man can't find a wife worth having. And people keep saying, oh, men don't want to be men anymore. Men don't want to get married. Would you marry some chick you meet in the club in Miami? like you'd be a fool. Like, I won't. You know, so it's really interesting how society is degraded, and it's all started at the bottom. It's very hard to find a humble woman who's modest, who wants to have many, many children for a man she obeys and respects in the Western world outside of Islam.
الكلام ده قاله قبل إسلامه، فالفطرة جواه عرفته إن في حاجة غلط. بص في العالم لم يجد على الفطرة إلا الأمة الإسلامية. قال الله عز وجل في كتابه العزيز: كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر. ليس أحد على وجه الأرض ينهى عن المنكر غير هذه الأمة. مفيش أمة على وجه الأرض النهاردة ترفض التطبيع مع الفواحش إلا هذه الأمة. مفيش حد النهاردة على وجه الأرض يجرم الربا والزنا والمسكرات إلا هذه الأمة. فهذه الأمة أفضل أمة على وجه الأرض على كل ما فيها.